Coach, you had a chance to watch Utah's game against UCLA, 14-7. When you looked at their D, what can you say?
The same thing you say every year when you watch Utah on defense. One of the top defenses in the country. These guys do a really nice job. I mean, they're really physical up front. They understand their scheme. Really tough in the red zone, and just impressive. And it'll be a great challenge for us.
In what way do you feel like the running game is better than a year ago? And if you do, in what way do you feel like it is?
I don't know. It's too early to tell that way, but so far I've been pretty impressed with the run game. I still know there's room for growth, but I just think a little bit more consistent maybe in our targeting up front, and I think our guys are really firing off the ball and doing a good job of making it physical up front. But I've been pretty pleased with it, and I know Coach Mahalchek would sit in there and tell you that it's just way too sloppy right now. But I like the way that we're running the ball. The backs are hitting the holes, and there's a lot of veteran guys in that unit that have been repping those plays for a lot of years. We've got to continue to complement it with the passing game.
It feels like they're more explosive. There's more explosive plays on the game.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the numbers exactly to see if it is, but yeah, I feel like we've been able to hit some explosives there, and I think some of that, our receivers are getting involved, blocking downfield, and even sometimes around the line of scrimmage, and credit to those guys. And I think that's where explosive runs happen. You get those guys blocking downfield.
It doesn't help or hurt the young guy like Damian too. I mean, it's got to be reassuring, if not a security blanket for you when you call in plays.
Yeah, no, Damian's running the ball well and confident in what we're doing. And then Fenwick, it was great to see him get going and get over 100 last game as well.
Jonathan mentioned yesterday that it's been a little hard for DJ to get in rhythm because of the running game being so successful. How do you get him in rhythm?
Yeah, that's the challenge. It's kind of like, man, we've been running the ball so well, and that's definitely the strength of our offense. That we feel a good scheme that our kids are confident in, and our offensive line veteran group. And sometimes it's tough as a Q when you're running the ball so well. You're just throwing it on third down, or maybe every 4 runs in the pass. And so I think that's what we're looking at is ways that we can get in maybe with some either some quick game or some movement passes to get him some rhythm early, and maybe do a better job of that to just get him in the flow of the game.
Did you feel like that was a problem last year too?
I think it's challenging for the Q, at times, and it's just when you're running the ball, I think sometimes that's a good problem to have, because we want to run the ball around here and roll the clock and get our backs going.
Anthony Gould has turned heads, returning punts, and his blinding speed, but I thought that catch he made in Pullman late in the game was pretty darn impressive. What about his versatility?
Yeah, and I just love, he's a competitor, really I was kind of frustrated in the game because he won some routes early in the game that whether the protection broke down or the underneath coverage forced it to go to another spot. But I really like the way he's playing fast right now. And it was great to see him when we needed him at the end of the game when we were down. And so that 2-minute drill come up, and that go ball was a big time catch. So I love Ant, and I see him getting more touches as it moves on.
When you look at DJ and how he's presumably looking to respond from last weekend, what is he like behind the scenes? His demeanor, his work, does it remain the same as it's been all season? Does he ramp it up? What's that look like from your perspective?
He stays the same. We have a process around here, the way we go about things in the quarterback room. And he's been doing awesome. He comes in, spends a lot of time, works at it, and I just think keep doing what he's doing, and we'll keep working with him, and I think things will work out.
Jack Billings had some catches this year. How do you get the tight ends more involved in the passing game?
Yeah, that's another one. The numbers aren't, I guess, as high as we ideally like to see, and I'm a little bit frustrated in that regard because there's some stuff that was called, particularly in the first half, that you game planning, you're like, it's going to have a pretty high percentage to go to Belling or one of the tight ends, and then the coverage or something takes that away, and you end up having to check it down or go somewhere else with the ball. And I think there's a little bit of that, and then there's some where, right now there's only a limited number of passes to go around, and I like Silas and Ant and Josiah. We've got some weapons that, but with limited passes, it's hard to get all those guys a bunch of a bunch of targets, and so we'll see. Just keep running the ball, how many there are to go around.
So it hasn't been for a lack of or putting wraps on until you get
No.
down the road.
No, and I think we love those guys. Those guys Jack's a super talented player, and we want to get him involved in it. And there's been plays, I guess what I'm saying is there's been plays called for it that just for whatever reason they haven't ended up there. They've ended up somewhere else, or like I said, he has to tuck into a scramble or something for some reason.
When you look at the inaccuracy in the passing the last couple of weeks, after looking at film and evaluating things, what do you attribute that to? Is there any one thing, or is it a variety of things?
I think it's a variety of things. There's obviously some passes that DJ, he missed, and that he'd like to have back. But there's also some plays where maybe we didn't win the route on the outside. Maybe the defense covered the route and he had to throw it away. I thought there was some good reps, and we talked about McKee room of taking some of that stuff when they give it to you. But there's also some opportunities where you need to throw the ball away and go to 2nd and 10 or whatnot. And I think he's doing a pretty good job of, if the stuff's not there, getting the ball out and avoiding a negative play. But in the passing game, I just think we've got to be cleaner all the way around. And we've talked about it as a unit, being tighter with protection up front, timing with the route and receivers. But I do think there's a little bit of, with some of our guys have been a little bit dinged up, haven't probably practiced as much during the week with some timing elements that, as these guys, as they get back and get healthier, they're practicing more, and I think the timing will help DJ there as well.
Now that you've kind of had just time to reflect, you and the team have had time to reflect after Saturday, just what is the main focus for the offense kind of heading into this week to prepare for Utah?
I think we go back to our, like you said, go back to our process of, improving, learning what we can from the Washington State game, making those corrections, and then dialing into this game plan and putting together a really good week of practice. And I've been pleased these first couple days on a short week. These guys have come out hungry and dialed in and focused on the task at hand. And I just think we can put together a great week of practice, and I think that'll show up on Friday.
Deshaun played a lot in the second half. Does that just go to your mindset of whoever's got the hot hand is going to play?
Yeah, and we trust KB with making that call, and he's got a good feel for those guys on the sideline. And I think that the hot hand who's seen it well, and Ben was running really well and got hot. I don't think there's anything more to it than that.